Order. End of question time. The clerk will now proceed to read the order of the day.
Item 1, resumption of debate on the estimates for the financial year 1st April 2023 to 31st March 2024, Committee of Supply, 4th allotted day.
Head K, Ministry of Education. The question is that the total sum to be allocated for Head K of the estimates be reduced by $100. Minister for Education.
Chair, we thank members for all your suggestions and comments. In particular, the passionate speech by Ms. Denise Phua and the vivid imagery of Mr. Patrick Tay's Iron Man. To Ms. Phua, I would like to share that indeed, new wine need new wineskins. Not just one type, but many types, to cater to the diversity of needs and aspirations of our people. More importantly, we need new mindsets, which I will come back to, together with Mr. Patrick Tay's Iron Man. Like the public, some members have asked MOE to do less. They are calling for later start times and earlier end times. They believe in teach less, test less, less stress, and hopefully better results for all. Others have asked MOE to do more. They want smaller class sizes, smaller schools, closer guidance and supervision, better support for students with higher needs, and more types of learning opportunities, including Ms. Carrie Tan, who suggested incorporating more nature and outdoor experiences into the curriculum. Many of you have given us suggestions on what more we should teach in our schools. I was also hoping to hear more views on what we can remove from our students' and teachers' load. Some have called for more porosity in our education pathways, more social mixing in our schools. Others want affiliation priority and alumni privileges to be maintained, to build stronger school networks and uphold their school culture. Some have called for the removal of PSLE, others to extend PSLE preparation for our students to more overseas schools. Some have called for smaller school sizes, more niche programs, and CCA. Others think every school should be able to offer a comprehensive and identical suite of programs and CCA. Ultimately, we all have to work within the finite resources and time budget of our school system, students, teachers, and even parents to best meet the diverse needs of our children. Every idea is well-meaning, but it affects different groups of stakeholders differently. To chart our way forward, we have to first understand the complex needs of the future and the diverse needs of our children. A more uncertain world demands resilience. Resilience comes from a diversity of strengths. A more diverse population with diverse aspirations demands mass customization beyond mass access. We should expect a more variegated system with more models, but within our means and capabilities, and a less structured system to allow us to adapt and evolve faster. Today, we are starting from a position of strength. OECD's PISA study found that our students from less advantaged backgrounds not only outperform their international counterparts of similar socio-economic backgrounds, but they did better than the OECD average in all core domains. These students typically have less access to private tuition and have still managed to do well by international standards. This goes to show that our students are industrious and our education system is doing something right. Instead of attributing our students' achievement to the private tuition industry, I think we should give credit to our students, schools, and teachers where credit is due. In recent years, our efforts to support our students to progress to our post-secondary education institutions have also been paying off. Today, about 97% did so in the year 2021. And this is significant by any international standard. Nevertheless, we will be the first to acknowledge that our system is not perfect. Indeed, I don't believe that there will ever be perfection for our system. Adaptability, resilience, and relevance to the times are much more important attributes, and we certainly will not sit on our laurels. I have covered the larger philosophical and directional issues of our education system at the Institute of Policy Studies Singapore Perspectives 2023 seminar. Members can read the speech online, and I don't intend to repeat them today. Instead, today, let me walk members through the challenges and aspirations for each stage of our education journey. We start by giving every child a good start in life. There is more scientific evidences, and we all agree that the foundational years play a critical role in our children's holistic development. Beyond numeracy and literacy, this is also when they develop important social-emotional skills and their innate curiosity to learn. Hence, we have taken decisive steps to make affordable and high-quality preschool education accessible to families. Today, there are 50 MOE kindergartens around Singapore. We are on track to open another 7 by 2025 and a further 3 by 2027, based on current plans. The 60 MKs will contribute to the government's commitment to achieve 80% government-supported preschool places by around 2025. Today, around 95% of all Singaporean children aged 5 to 6 years are enrolled in preschools, even without making it compulsory under law. So that's not our biggest challenge. However, amongst children from lower income families, we still see an enrollment gap at ages 3 to 4, and poorer attendance compared to their peers. So we need to go beyond enrollment to encourage regular attendance. More importantly, we need to work with families to create conducive home environments which can help our children's development, so that all these efforts will complement and not undo the good work of our preschools. We know that there's no silver bullet in addressing these complex family and social issues. The government provides targeted assistance to lower-income families based on their individual circumstances. This includes supporting them in their parenting journey through Kids Start and highly subsidizing the cost of preschool. Together with the Early Childhood Development Agency, or ACDA, we welcome more ideas on how preschools, families, and the community can work together to better support children from disadvantaged backgrounds. Next, for primary schools, let me deal with 3 issues: P1 registration, affiliation, and PSLE. Mr. Lim Biao Chuan, Mr. Louis Chua asked about the P1 registration exercise. Parents consider many factors in selecting primary schools for their children. Some parents prefer convenience for a school near their homes. Others would like their children to join their alma mater so that they can benefit from a similar school experience and become part of the same school community. Yet others place a premium on the types of programs offered by a school. While MOE can guarantee more than sufficient places for all Singaporean citizens and children in our primary school, no one has yet found a way to satisfy all parental preferences. The P1 registration framework has to strike a careful balance amongst the competing considerations. However, each year, about 98% of all Singaporean children get into a primary school of their choice or within 2 kilometers of their residence. We revised the framework last year and will continue to update the system as circumstances change and societal needs evolve. More importantly, we need to promote a mindset shift amongst us as parents. Our every child is unique in his or her temperament, strengths, and aspirations. Every school provides valuable and distinctive programs. Instead of asking whether a certain school is a good school, the more relevant question to ask is this a good school for my child? Is this a good school for my child? As parents, we should choose schools based on our children's needs rather than the perceived prestige or popularity of the school. Members have also discussed the educational merits of school affiliation. It enables a school to preserve its traditions and culture and build a stronger school spirit. But affiliation, beyond a certain point, is not without its risks. We need to avoid close and exclusive social circles which risk fragmenting and stratifying our society especially as our societies matures. This means that we must ensure that schools with affiliation remain open, accessible, and inclusive for students of diverse backgrounds. This balance to maintain the accessibility of our schools to all, regardless of background, is a dynamic balance that we must be prepared to adjust over time according to our societal circumstances and needs. MOE cannot do this alone without the support of school alumni and parents. The privileged amongst us must believe in sharing their access and networks. We must understand the responsibilities that come with success and not inadvertently form close social circles. As Spider-Man would say, to those with great powers come great responsibilities. And I hope that all the alumni from the successful schools understand what I mean. Moving on to PSLE, there are calls to remove the PSLE, but for different reasons. All well-meaning, but not always without unintended consequences. Some think it is too stressful, but it is neither realistic nor desirable to shield our children from all the stresses they will have to face in life, especially in a more competitive and globalized world. Our jobs as parents and educators is to help our children pick up the skills and positive attributes and attitudes to manage the demands of school, work, and life in general. To grow our capacity to overcome stress and not just to shield ourselves from unnecessary stress. We should not demoralize our children through incessant comparison. Instead, we should help them maximize their potential and do justice to their gifts. This is why MOE introduced changes to the PSLE scoring system in 2021, so that the results are no longer as finely differentiated and reflect students' objective performance rather than relative to their peers. This encourages students to focus on their own progress instead of comparing themselves with others. And this is why in all my EduSafe award ceremony, I remind the students that it is more important to keep surpassing oneself through life than just surpassing someone else in an exam. We have also received feedback that removing PSLE would allow our children to pursue other dimensions of growth. Indeed, we have been focusing more on important life skills in our curriculum. Hence, all weighted assessments have been removed from Primary 1 and Primary 2 since 2019, and mid-year examinations will be removed for all primary and secondary school levels this year. Besides reducing the assessment load and perceived examination stakes, these adjustments free up more time and space in school to strengthen learning dispositions and holistic development. Some members, including Mr. James Lim, Ms. Hazel Phua, and Ms. Denise Phua, in previous years have brought up the related concept of True Train programs. In fact, we have studied this issue very carefully in MOE, but there are various implications to work through. First, if we do away with the PSLE, we lose an important checkpoint in assessing a student's mastery of core concepts as they transit from primary to secondary school. The PSLE is a useful guide for students to take subjects at the appropriate levels at the next stage of their learning. Without the PSLE, it will be more challenging to place students in a suitable educational setting, and not always better for learning outcome nor teaching efficacy. Second, many parents and students would like to choose their schools and education setting. For this group, removing PSLE entirely would deny them this choice or simply transfer the stress elsewhere, such as competition for P1 places. In simple terms, few would hesitate if the True Train programs help their children get into a popular secondary school. But many would hesitate if it means they do not have a choice to be in a secondary school of their choice through merit. We should also consider if a True Train model would reduce opportunities for students to interact with peers of different backgrounds through their primary and secondary years. And there are other ways to support the learning needs of different students flexibly without completely doing away with national exams or moving entirely to a True Train system. An example is regional CCA groupings. Yet another example is subject-based banding, which Mr. Bae Yam King and Mr. Darryl David have asked for updates on. Next year will mark a significant milestone with the implementation of full subject-based banding of FSBB in our secondary education system. Beyond reducing stigmatization, the removal of course labels will lead to meaningful changes in our students' education journey. Students will have greater flexibility to take subjects at a level that is more or less demanding depending on their strengths, interests, and learning needs. There will be more social mixing with increased opportunities for students to interact with peers of different profiles. However, it is not a straightforward transition for schools to make. Teachers will need to get used to managing classes with diverse student profiles. And it's actually more work and harder work for our teachers and schools. Our teachers are willing to do this for the benefit of our students, but we should not think that it doesn't demand more from our teachers. Students will need to take greater ownership of their own learning. Our school also have to grapple with the practical issues such as timetable scheduling for various subject combinations. MOE will carefully and systematically work through these issues to support our schools in the implementation of FSBB and provide them with the necessary resources. At the same time, if we accept that our children have different abilities and needs, then we would also accept that we should not make every school take the same approach to teaching and learning. This is why we have a variegated education landscape today. Schools offering the IP and specialized schools will not implement the full features of full SBB because they cater to specific student profiles through a whole school approach. Homogenizing all schools for the sake of social mixing alone would come at the expense of our ability to offer mass customization and differentiated experiences for our students. And I do not think this is the outcome members want from us. Nonetheless, we have sought to enhance the diversity in our schools through other means while moving away from the sole dependence on the national exam as a single matrix for placement to secondary schools. This includes our efforts to increase the proportion of students admitted via the direct school admission system and broadening the definition of DSA selection process to recognize a range of talents, potential, and achievements. Let me now elaborate on how FSBB will change the students' educational journey. The vast majority of students will continue to be admitted to secondary schools based on their PSLE scores. Starting from 2024, Secondary 1 cohort, MOE will post primary 6 students to secondary schools through 3 posting groups 1, 2, and 3, mapped to the PSLE score ranges for normal tech, normal acad, and express courses respectively. This ensures that schools continue to admit students with diverse strengths and students continue to have access to a wide range of schools. By admitting students from different posting groups, schools can also enable diversity at the class level with mixed form classes that comprise students offering subjects at different subject levels. Unlike streaming, posting groups will only be used to facilitate admissions and to determine students' initial subject levels for most subjects at the beginning of Sec 1. Beyond that, posting groups will not shape the secondary school experience. Currently, students may choose to take certain subjects at a more demanding level if they are eligible. Under FSBB, this flexibility has been expanded to more subjects. With guidance from their schools, some students have also begun to offer elective subjects at a less demanding level. This gives them room to pursue their interests without adding unduly to their overall curriculum load. Finally, at the end of secondary school, students will receive a common certificate, the Singapore-Cambridge Secondary Education Certificate, or SEC, which reflects their different subject combinations and levels. Starting from 2027, the SEC will replace the separate Singapore-Cambridge General Certificate of Examination, or GCE, O and N-level examinations. The option of spending a 5th year in secondary school will remain available to students who wish to offer subjects at a more demanding level. This is to allow them to pace their learning and potentially access more post-secondary school pathways. To cater to a wider profile of students offering subjects at different subject levels, full SBB changes will be accompanied by expanded admission and progression pathway in our institutes of higher learnings. Minister Maliki will share more details later. Students should still have strong fundamentals to thrive in the pathways they choose. Hence, we'll be retaining the existing JC admission criteria to ensure students can cope with the A-level curriculum. Mr. Bae Yam Keng and Mr. Darrell David asked if MOE plans to review the A-level curriculum to ensure that it remains relevant in today's education landscape. Over the years, we have gradually reduced curriculum content to free up more time and space for the development of 21st century competencies, or 21CC as we call it. Today, the curriculum content of most of our A-level syllabus is already similar or narrower than the international syllabus used as benchmarks for comparison. it is not possible to reduce curriculum content further without compromising the overall rigor. However, we'll be making key changes in other ways. First, project work nurtures 21st century competencies and life skills through working in teams. These are the very skills which members have said are essential to thrive in the future of work. To encourage students to make the most of the exciting collaborative and interdisciplinary learning experience offered by project work, we will make it a pass-fail subject and exclude it from the computation of the University Admission System, or UAS. Our students have done well in PW over the years. Making PW a pass-fail subject now encourages our students to exercise greater agency and creativity in areas of interest rather than be driven by grades alone. A pass in PW will still be required for admission to the autonomous universities to show that students have attained the skills which are critical for future learning and work. We'll implement these changes from academic year 2024, the JC1 and Millennia Institute Year 2 cohort onwards. Second, to nurture the joy of learning, we want our students to follow their passions instead of only picking subjects that they will score well in. To achieve this, we'll make changes to how we compute the University Admission System, or UAS. From the academic year 2026 admissions, the fourth content-based subject will no longer be counted in the computation of UAS by default, and will only be included if it improves the UAS. This will allow our students to better calibrate their learning load so that more time can be redirected to holistic development. I should emphasize that students will continue to benefit from a broad-based A-level curriculum, as they still have to offer 4 content-based subjects, of which 1 would be from outside their specialization. Parents and educators may be concerned that our pre-tertiary students will no longer take their 4th content-based subject, or PW, work seriously. We believe that our students will still apply themselves. Today, it is already optional for students taking H1 mother tongue language to include the subject in their UAS computation. Nevertheless, these students continue to put effort towards their mother tongue studies, as they are intrinsically motivated to learn and improve. And this is exactly the attitude, the positive attitude that we hope to cultivate through our curriculum changes. Students taking ownership of their own learning. Lastly, similar to what has already been done for our primary and secondary schools, we will remove mid-year examinations for all JCs and MI. The time saved from preparing for examinations can be channeled towards deeper student engagement and learning through more varied experiences. Teachers will continue to use assessment in a formative and calibrated way to monitor learning progress and support each student. The removal of the mid-year examinations will take place in phases for different levels in JCs and MI, starting from 2024. Our efforts to foster stronger 21cc development and ensure future-ready graduates extend to our IHLs as well. Mr. Shahril Taha highlighted that companies value industry-relevant skills and competencies over paper qualifications. Our IHLs equip students with life skills competencies such as critical thinking, innovation, communication, as well as self-awareness and mental resilience. Part of the training in IHLs also includes developing interdisciplinary expertise, which means that students learn to apply knowledge and skills across different fields. For instance, under the new minor program launched by Republic Poly this year, students can embark on additional areas of study beyond their diploma, such as in business, digitization, or sustainability. Let me now turn to lifelong learning, which I'm happy to note has caught members' interest and attention. Ms. Denise Phua noted that in the 2016 OECD survey of adult skills, Singaporeans aged 16 to 34 perform well, while those aged 45 to 65 perform lower than the OECD average in literacy and numeracy. This is a reflection of how OECD countries have built up their education system much earlier than us, and their older cohorts have benefited from this. For Singapore, we should take heart that we have done a tremendous job in bringing our schools and higher education system to high standards within the span of the past few decades. This is why the performance of our younger Singaporeans are comparable with the advanced economy. But we will not stop here. With lifelong learning, we are now doing more for both our young and young at heart, as what we teach and learn in the first 15 years is no longer adequate for the next 50 years without a significant top-up. I thank Mr. Patrick Tay for his suggestions to increase continuing education and training opportunities. In fact, given the rapid pace of industry transformation, we can expect more dynamic changes in the demand for skills. However, members have also raised concern about perpetuating a paper chase. Indeed, this is not our intention. The objective of continual learning must be the purposeful and timely acquisition of relevant knowledge and skills. When a certain defined body of knowledge or skills have been acquired, the qualification then serves to reflect the mastery attained. The stackable pathways that our IHLs have significantly expanded in recent years enable this. Today, there are pathways offering substantive skills upgrading at different levels, catering to NITEC, diploma, and degree holders. Over the past few years, annual enrollment into stackable courses have grown from around 31,000 to around 36,000 from 2018 to 2022. We'll ensure that training opportunities continue to be industry relevant, accessible, affordable, and just in time to better meet the needs of our adult learners. Today, we have a 40% lifetime cohort participation rate target for subsidized undergraduate degree places for fresh school leavers, and an additional 10% allowance for adult learners. In close consultation with MTI, MOM, and the economic agencies, we have decided to increase the lifetime cohort participation rate for publicly funded university degrees by 10 percentage points from 50% currently to 60% by 2025, so that more Singaporeans can obtain a degree from our AUs, not just at the point of 18 years old, but throughout their life. This takes into account the demand for degree-level manpower across the economy in the medium term arising from our industry transformation efforts. The move to a lifetime cohort participation rate concept symbolizes the change in mindset that we need to embrace. There is no need to rush to front-load education, as there will be more subsidized places for CET pathways to support upgrading later in life. It is also about ensuring that the format of these CET programs is suited to the needs of our working adults and to the industries that they work in. The AUs have begun to innovate their offerings to better cater to adult learners' needs as well. Let me illustrate using the ICT sector. Mid-career workers looking to switch into the ICT sector can pursue a degree in applied computing at SIT while working. The degree programs will be delivered through a mixture of asynchronous and in-person learning to help adult learners manage their busy schedules. Polytechnics post-diplomas will also be recognized for credit exemptions to provide a more seamless upgrading pathway for diploma holders. Individuals who are already working in the ICT sector can deepen their skills or pick up new specializations through SIT micro-credentials. These are modular courses which deliver job-related skills in areas such as computer networks and software engineering. They can also stack these micro-credentials towards applied computing degree. Alternatively, individuals who prefer a more skills-based upgrading pathway can sign up for the 42 Singapore Program in Computing, a collaboration between SUTD and ECO 42. There are no academic prerequisites, and students will undergo industry-relevant training centered on project-based and peer-to-peer learning. MOE is also studying how to better support mid-career workers by enabling them to upskill ahead of job transitions. In the past year, under the Forward Singapore exercise, we heard from Singaporeans on the barriers to reskilling and upskilling, particularly for those in their 40s and 50s. We are looking at ways to reduce the high opportunity cost of training for this group of workers to enable them to participate in more sustainable, substantive training for a skills reboot. For example, we are considering how to provide more support through a SkillsFuture credit top-up and training allowances for mid-careerists in transition who go for intensive full-time training. However, to achieve lifelong learning, just shifting individual attitudes and raising the supply of training programs will not be enough if employers continue to fixate on credentials. We need employers to hire and compensate workers fairly based on their skills rather than paper qualifications, support workers in their upskilling, and provide opportunities for workers to apply new skills at work. This will ensure that after undergoing training, Singaporeans can get a real boost to their employability and wages and access to better job opportunities. Chair, I've talked about providing customized and porous pathway for continual learning across the life course. 3 key enablers undergirds this vision: technology, educators, and partnership. Technology is altering every aspect of life, and education is no exception. Technology has raised the productivity in our schools. We have and will continue to digitize and streamline manual processes with the use of Parents Gateway, a one-stop portal for schools to communicate with parents. This has helped to alleviate teachers' admin workload. But as Mr. Darrell David, Mr. Liam Biao Chuan, and Dr. Wan Riza have observed, the potential of EdTech goes beyond that. We have seen how technology allowed learning to continue across all schools, even through COVID. EdTech also allows for mass customization of teaching and learning, catering to the diverse learning needs of our students. These have been enabled by our national online learning platform, the Singapore Student Learning Space, or SLS. With your permission, Chair, may I ask the clerks to distribute a screenshot of the SLS. Members may also access these materials through the MP at SG PAL app. The screenshot shows the SLS resource library, where students can learn a range of academic subjects from primary school to pre-university, as well as to explore their non-academic topics such as financial literacy. Students can access these online resources via the SLS anytime, anywhere. Let me share two examples. First, with the mother tongue text-to-speech and speech evaluation tools, students can practice their oral communication skills and receive feedback instantly. I'm quite sure most parents do not know this. Second, students can use simulations and interactives to visualize concepts which might otherwise be hard to grasp. For example, the movement of individual particles in a wave or the relationship between distance and time illustrated by the movement of a train. With the SLS, all our students have effectively been equipped with a personal tutor. That is, a wealth of resources and tools to guide their individual learning, no matter their financial resources. The screenshot which we have distributed is meant as a taster for the parents amongst us. I hope members will find time tonight to log in with your children to explore its many useful features. And this is a friendly cost-saving tip for all parents. No need to go and buy other school exam papers. Try our SLS for free. Imagine the future of learning augmented by EdTech, where our higher needs students can identify and improve their areas of weaknesses by revisiting lessons and resources at their own pace. And higher ability students can stretch themselves by progressing to more advanced topics or topics that interest them. This mass customization uplifts the bottom and stretches the top without overloading our teachers. In the next phase, MOE will also introduce AI-enabled systems to better support our educators to teach more effectively. To give an example, the Learning Feedback Assistant for English Language will provide basic and personalized feedback on grammar and spelling to students, allowing our teachers to focus on more complex aspects of language use, such as creative expression and tone. MOE will progressively implement this system through the SLS from the fourth quarter this year. We will share more about our long-term EdTech plans in the coming months. Today, MOE already takes a two-pronged approach in supporting our students' diverse learning needs. First, we put more resources where the needs are higher. Schools have the flexibility to deploy teachers to teach students with higher needs in smaller pull-out classes. Second, we focus on recruiting and training competent educators to ensure that our students receive high-quality education. In the future, we can add a third prong to capitalize on EdTech to further enable self-directed and adaptive learning to better support our students with different needs. As EdTech becomes a pivotal part in our strategy to support the diverse learning needs of our students, our teachers must also grow and be conversant with EdTech. I thank Ms. Denise Phua and Dr. Wan Riza for their interest in how we empower our teachers. MOE will continue to support our teachers with training and resources to develop their capacity to teach with technology. To help teachers plan for their personal and professional development, MOE is refreshing the teachers' growth model. Teachers will learn more about pedagogies that lend themselves to better deliver the 21st century competencies content, gain digital literacy, as well as content and skills related to STEM and environmental sustainability. Indeed, educators are the backbone of our education system. Rest assured that we will not tolerate any abuse towards our teachers. We have provided schools with clear guidelines on establishing positive home-school partnerships. I hope to have everyone's support to respect the professionalism of our teachers and not create undue stress for our teachers when they do not fulfill our individual demands. supporting our educators in focusing on higher value tasks and providing them with opportunities for professional development are some ways in which MOE support the well-being of our teachers. Finally, I agree with Mr. Sean Huang and Mr. Sharil Taha about the importance of forging partnerships for education. Parent support groups, or PSG, have been active partners in enhancing our students' educational experience, such as in the area of education and career guidance. For instance, in Palm View Primary School, the PSG invites parents in diverse occupations to share with the students about their work. Such collaborations help our students better understand their interests and aspirations, as well as the range of careers available. Alumni also play an important role in plugging students and fresh graduates into industry networks. For example, SMU's Alumni Mentoring Program provides a platform for students and graduates to gain insights into specific industries and discover job opportunities. And I call on companies, unions to work closely with our IHLs and students to help our people keep up to date with the fast-paced industry developments and emerging opportunities. We share responsibility in preparing our students for the workforce and inspiring the next generation. Some companies have partnered our schools to broaden students' exposure through the Applied Learning Program, or ALPs. For example, as part of Danyan Secondary School's ALP in STEM, food scientists from FNN Limited conducted a workshop for interested students to learn about processes behind the creation of new drinks. The FNN food scientists have also been conducting annual food science career talks for our graduating students. I hope to see more of such partnerships. It is a win-win situation where companies and unions are directly involved in the training and development of our IHL students. All polytechnics, ITE, and most AUs have made internships a compulsory component of their courses. Last year, more than 2,300 companies partnered our IHLs to provide internships. These students were able to connect what they had learned in a classroom to their workplace, while the companies were able to access a new pipeline of talent. Minister Maliki will now elaborate on MOE other priorities, and I promise, Mr. Patrick Day, I will come back to Iron Man before we conclude.